Hello everyone, good evening, happy Monday evening, welcome, Big Creative Careers, welcome to this Series 2, Episode 3 of the Creative Careers series with Tom Wright, and I'm sure that's why you're all here. But just before I introduce Tom, I'll introduce myself. My name is Callum, I work for Space, and we're running this series of Creative Careers Talks. Space is a not-for-profit organisation based down in Devon. We work with young people, helping them in all manner of ways, and this is just one of those ways, looking at helping people consider careers in creative industries. So welcome to this talk. The setup for tonight is we're going to have a lovely chat with Tom. I sat down with him with an interview a couple of weeks back, and I'll be playing that for you. That lasts about 50 minutes, and after that one we'll jump into Discord for a live Q&A. The Discord link will appear in the description of this video towards the end of the video. Otherwise, if you're watching from our Creative Careers landing page, just click that button below saying join our Discord and you'll be pulled right into that to join in the Q&A. Tom will be there to answer all of your questions, hopefully to do with rock climbing and YouTubing, because that's why he's here. Previous guests on the Creative Careers series have included Molly Foe Wilkins, aka the English Simmer. She's a YouTuber, plays The Sims online, 300,000 odd subscribers, so she's pretty cool to talk to you about YouTubing. So check back in our previous videos to see that one. And next week we also have Annie Martin, filmmaker and one half of the Bouldering Bobat. So if climbing is your jam, you're in luck for the next 2 weeks. So make sure you don't miss that one next week by hitting that notification bell, subscribing to our channel, and you will see Annie's video drop into your YouTube profile next week. So that's the promo. I'm very excited personally for this chat with Tom. I am a rock climber myself, and I got into rock climbing by watching Tom's videos on Bouldering Bobat, and I did learn a lot and I laughed a lot, and I thought here's a guy that I could watch his YouTube videos. So I'm a bit of a fanboy. I've watched all of them, so hopefully folks that are also viewing this tonight will be similarly excited as I am. But I don't just fanboy for the next however long of the interview. I do ask him some actually interesting questions, I promise, about producing content for YouTube, about Tom's life growing up in Devon, about sort of managing photography and the kit involved. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, pursuing a career in YouTube or content creation in general, then this is the talk for you. So watch all the way through to the end and you'll hear Tom's top tips for people considering doing the same thing. But that's enough for me. Let's jump into the chat with Tom. So here is Tom Wright from Bouldering Bobat talking about his creative career. Enjoy. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Callum?
I just realised that's the first time I've referred to you as your full name. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, Tom is preferable, but
right.
You know.
Thomas Wright.
Yeah.
to those that know me. How are you doing? How's this morning treating you?
Yeah, good. I'm good. Just got back to London after kind of being down in Devon for a bit. Got to be get back to it really, but yeah.
That was prompted by this latest lockdown, right? So to the viewers, we're recording this. What's this, day 2, day 3 of the lockdown?
Lockdown 3.0.
January, yeah, lockdown 3.0. Are you all right with lockdowns? Are you generally good with your own time?
I'm all right. I mean, the good thing about doing what I do is I have a lot of free time. The bad thing about a lockdown is I don't have a lot of stuff to do in that free time. So finding stuff to do. But yeah, I've got some big edits to do, and so yeah, I've got a plenty to be busy with inside the flat.
Brill. And that's a lot of lovely little teasing little nuggets there about what it is that you do. So why don't you just kick off and introduce yourself and what it is that you do professionally?
Yeah. So my name's Tom. I'm from the Southwest, and I am a YouTuber. I'm a rock climbing YouTuber influencer person.
Nice. That's pretty cool. And am I right in saying you're a bit of a filmmaker, film person outside of that as well, and a freelance?
Yeah. So I do a bit of freelance filmmaking and kind of freelance editing occasionally when that kind of stuff crops up and I've got time to fit it in.
Sweet. Right, talk to us about your channel then. What's the name of your channel? How many subscribers you got? Have you got any plaques? You got any plaques, Tom?
Yeah, we have a plaque, but it is I told Omar, so let's start at the beginning. So I run a YouTube channel called Bouldering Bobat, and I started it, or it was started by a friend of mine, and I jumped on board pretty early on. And we've been growing that together for almost 3 years now. Yeah, and it's my full-time gig. We have 160,000 subscribers. At the moment, things are a bit slow, but we do about 500,000 views a month. Yeah, and we do have a plaque. We've got the 100,000 subscriber plaque. I told Omar he could keep that one, and that I would get the 1 million subscriber plaque. So,
nice.
Fingers crossed that we get to that.
You're gonna get there.
Yeah, sure.
So I started out as a viewer of your channel, Tom, and then so this is for the viewer's sake now. I slid into Tom's DMs, asked him if he fancied jumping on board, and being that he is a lovely man from Devon as well, he said yes. If you're wondering what the name of the YouTube channel is, it is Bouldering Bobat. It says it on Tom's shirt, on his hoodie, right there, right at the front.
Oh yeah, there it is.
You're wearing the stash.
I am. This is like a mistake hoodie, but it's actually quite nice. So,
it's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite good now that we're stepping into the realm of YouTubing, we're stepping into the realm of rock climbing. And fusing those two things together, it's good that we maybe define a few things before we go. So what is your role, I guess, as a rock climber, and how do you capture that for YouTube?
Okay, yeah. So it's for YouTube, we run a vlog. I'm sure you're probably fairly aware of what a vlog is, people watching this, but briefly, instead of making long form films, it's kind of more a documentary of what you get up to on a day or over a series of days, rather than a film with a specific purpose, if that makes sense. And then rock climbing, we do a form of rock climbing called bouldering, which is kind of climbing smaller walls but with a much greater focus on difficulty, so kind of like a sprint as opposed to a marathon. And it also has a focus on kind of gymnastic movement. And bouldering is really booming right now. A lot of indoor bouldering, specific bouldering centers just popping up everywhere. And yeah, you get a lot of this kind of like bombastic dynamic movement, kind of jumping around parkour style stuff. So yeah, that's kind of rock climbing. And then the vlog kind of stuff is we kind of just film us having a good time climbing and then doing kind of silly challenges, that kind of thing. And yeah, all sorts.
Bro. I think you're right in saying that YouTubing and vlogging is pretty well understood nowadays. Filming something, popping it online, and then through advertising, you get yourself some sweet cash money.
Yeah.
But what do you actually do day to day to make that happen?
So it's kind of, my week is always shifting. I don't really have much of a schedule, but right now we have a bit of a fixed schedule because of everything that's going on, not being able to travel, not being able to do kind of one-off weird things. And at the moment we kind of are generally filming content on a Friday. And then depending on whose edit week it is, I will normally edit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, post Wednesday evening. Right now we're a bit out of sync, so I'll probably edit over the weekend and post sometime next week. And right now we're only able to produce about 1 video a week, so gives us actually quite a lot of time. So I will edit 1 week, Omar will edit the week before, so it kind of means we have enough time off to work on other bits around the channel as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to clear up who we is. Or
we, yeah.
Who are we?
So we are, so we are Bouldering Bobat, and it is a group of 6 friends, kind of the core members. Myself and Omar do all the filming, and Omar is Omar Bobat, and he started the channel, and I joined and after like their second video. And yeah, so me and Omar film and edit everything, and I generally am either in or filming kind of every video. And Omar is more kind of behind the camera, adding his kind of zesty humor. And then, yeah, the other guys are just, they're just good friends of ours, and they kind of climb and all bring something kind of special to the mixture.
Nice. So you mentioned earlier on that it's a bit hard to put out or create your content because traveling is a bit restricted. But let's rewind a little bit to some of the cool trips you've done, some of the cool collaborations. So for those that haven't seen the channel, Tom's been off to Norway, to Sicily, to France a couple of times, Switzerland. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, Switzerland.
All in the name of climbing, and filming it, and putting it online. How did those things come about?
Yeah, so as the channel progressed, I think our first trip was it was just an offer from a climbing wall in Copenhagen. The owner of the climbing wall was like, "We love what you do out here. We'll cover all your expenses. Come for 5 days in Copenhagen, film a couple of videos at our center." And so a no-brainer. So we all just jumped on a plane and got out there. And then after that, kind of offers and other bits kept on rolling. We went to Norway to meet up with a professional climber, someone who I was quite aware of as a kind of growing up as a climber, a guy called Magnus Mitbo, who's now really big in the YouTube world as well, and did lots of crazy challenges with him. And then also been linking up in Sicily with some guys who are creating new outdoor climbing spots out there, and also swimming and eating lots of pasta and that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed those Sicily videos. And one other thing that you've been involved with some of the guys from Stora. So they're one of the collaborations that you've had. So talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It was kind of quite organic, I think. We collaborate with a guy called Toby Seeger, who's one of the main guys from Stora. And he got quite into bouldering, and I saw him at the local wall, and also someone was like, "Oh, this guy does like crazy stuff," and showed me like a video of him doing a backflip off the climb wall, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then kind of through that, I found his stuff, but at the same time, kind of we started chatting to each other a bit more at the wall. And he's just one of those people who is always psyched, always keen for anything. So when we invited him down to do a video, he was just like instantly keen, and then instantly got about 8 or 9 other people who did parkour and to do this one video where we basically created parkour inside the climbing wall, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I remember watching that video early doors in my climbing lifespan and just thinking, this is sick.
Totally.
It's like, I'm there. So it's definitely, I think what you've just described there, you're sort of quite flexible when you're working, and you can film what you want when you want. And you've got a kind of a working partner, plus you've got all these cool collaborations and trips and stuff. So it's definitely a cool job, I think. Loads of creativity, a ton of perks. But let's talk about how you got into this position, because that sort of thing doesn't happen overnight. It looks like YouTubing is a job where the journey, the growth is part of your job. I don't think you can just call yourself a YouTuber once you've posted your first video. So my question to you, Tom, is how did your climbing and then your photography skills progress and eventually combine to create your current role with bouldering?
Man, it's a good question, and it is a long-ish journey. So I've been climbing for about 11 years, and I think all of these skills kind of started at secondary school for me. I think my dad was trying to find a sport that I was good at, because I was very kind of dyspraxic. My hand-eye coordination was pretty bad, and I just couldn't really get on with kind of normal sports. Ball sports, always the last to be picked, kind of just really low confidence with all that kind of thing. So my dad took me to a little climbing wall, and I started climbing there. And then at secondary school, I was lucky enough to have we had a small climbing wall there as well. And I kind of just got really hooked and inspired by what kind of some of the bigger kids at school were doing in the climbing wall, like swinging around without their feet and that kind of stuff. So I just kind of wanted to replicate what they were doing and just climbed in there a lot. Yeah, and around a similar time, my dad gave me a little point and shoot camera, and we went on a little climbing trip in Italy. We were really lucky to go to Italy and do some kind of like hiking. A thing called Via Ferrata out there, which is kind of like a combination of hiking and climbing. And I started taking some pictures there. Yeah, and that's kind of where it started, I suppose. And then, yeah, moving on from that, I got kind of, I needed to do enough GCSEs, and I knew art wasn't going to be my thing, but I thought maybe instead of doing art, I'll just do photography because I quite like playing with cameras. And yeah, through that, I started learning the skills of how to use kind of a DSLR and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to keep going from that.
So let's follow on after GCSEs then. So you're taking photography GCSE, you've been out and about, you've used the camera on the job.
Yeah.
How do you then start thinking that this might be something that you professionalize, that you make a career out of?
Yeah. So I think at school, I kind of wanted to do several things, and none of them were photography. So kind of photography, filmmaking, YouTube, that was never the goal. And also almost something that I was always told. I never really knew someone who did that, or it was always kind of like this idea that, no one really makes money doing photography or filmmaking. That's not really a career. So I kind of wanted to, at first I wanted to kind of do physics, and then I got quite into kind of music production. And eventually, through kind of process of elimination, I suppose, I kind of discovered I was really good at photography. And at A level, I took photography there. And I was a little bit, discovering I was really good at it was almost a little bit disappointing, because I kind of almost already learned everything I needed to learn to be good at A level,
right,
through using YouTube and watching online tutorials and that kind of thing.
Right. So you were using YouTube kind of as a self-driven, independent student, taking yourself to class outside of school, where you just sit in front of your computer, you're learning stuff from YouTube, you're learning what all your functions on your cameras do, and then you go to A-level photography and realize, I kind of
learn it already. And almost, there were points where I felt like I almost knew more. You know, the teacher would ask me for help when it came for doing stuff with Photoshop and that kind of thing, because I was I managed to get my hands on a cracked copy of Photoshop, and I've been using that loads through GCSE. Kind of part of my art project was kind of stacking lots of images on top of each other and that kind of thing. And yeah, I got quite into the editing process at A level. But I was a little bit kind of disappointed at A level that I was kind of almost way more motivated than anybody else. It felt to me that this was really my passion, and I suppose that's kind of when I started thinking, you know, maybe I could get a job being a photographer. But at that time, it was kind of like, okay, what do you do when you're a photographer? Oh, maybe you take pictures at weddings, that kind of thing.
Am I right in saying that you're also dyslexic?
Yes.
So the more sort of like formal side of sort of school education is a bit tricky. So when you find something like photography, where it actually kind of plays to your strengths, right, and sort of avoids the weaknesses in that way, that's really cool that you can start sort of considering this as like, this is now a passion. And now so you take your photography A level. I'm imagining you crushed it.
I got I think the most marks I could get, almost. There were written pieces in there, but I worked really hard on them because I knew everything else was there.
So we get to that point, you're sort of 17, 18, you've got to a level of proficiency with photography, going through just formal education, then teaching yourself outside of that as well. Can you bring us up to speed with the climbing?
Okay, yeah. So at the same time, I started entering kind of little youth competitions around Devon. Climbing competitions are kind of open. You have a set number of problems or climbs to complete. the least number of attempts you do them in, the more points you get. I didn't really need to explain climbing competitions, but I did anyway. So yeah, little climbing competitions around. Started entering those at kind of a junior level, and I did kind of reasonably well in some of these smaller competitions. And eventually there was kind of a youth team at my local climbing wall that kind of got set up. And I joined that, and we started kind of going around to kind of smaller national events. And then eventually by the time I was 17, which was kind of like the last year for juniors, but that was the first year I actually entered any kind of bigger comps. I entered the British Regional Youth Climbing Series. I think that's what it is. And I came second for the Southwest, and that meant I qualified for the finals, and I came, I think, seventh in the finals, which was, yeah, not bad. I was quite pleased with that.
I'd say that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get to 17, 18. You're achieving quite well with your climbing. You've done well with your photography A level, and I think this is a good place to hit pause, because I think a lot of young people will find themselves in a similar position right now, where they've finished A levels, maybe they're just finishing up A levels, or maybe you're doing some other type of vocational qualification or an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, right, what do I do next? Maybe it's uni, maybe it's continuing in the world of work, or maybe it's doing something completely different, complete tangent. It's a big question, and a lot of people ask it for themselves, and most people, I would say, don't have an immediate answer. So I'd be keen to hear your experiences of how you approached that question about how you move forward, and what you want to do professionally after college.
So yeah, I finished college, and I did all right. I got I think I got an A star in photography. I got a C in philosophy and ethics, and I think I actually ended up getting a D in music tech, which I was pretty disappointed about, but such is life, that's the way it goes. And I was actually pretty fed up at that point with A levels, and just kind of, didn't really know what I wanted to do, but it's always been a dream of mine to go climbing around Europe and go to some of these kind of world famous climbing destinations. So I bought a little van. I'd been working at Morrison's whilst I was doing my A levels, so I had a bit of money saved up, and took off for about 4 months in my little van, climbing around Europe, and also taking a lot of pictures.
Nice.
Hard drives of pictures.
That's thousands of pictures.
Like a lot. I've got a little stack of hard drives from kind of my gap years. I took that year off, 4 months traveling around Europe, going rock climbing, and then I came back for the winter. I got a job laboring, and then I used that money to then go to Australia with my girlfriend. More climbing, more traveling, lots more photography, and kind of all the amazing things that Australia kind of has to offer. After that, I still didn't really have a plan. But Annie, my girlfriend, went to uni in London. She had a place at uni, and I kind of went back to Devon and went back to my labouring job, but at the same time started working on building a portfolio, so I could apply for photography and filmmaking degrees. And my thinking at the time was, there's not a lot of jobs going in photography, but maybe there are lots of jobs going in filmmaking. So maybe filmmaking something I could do. And I'm not quite sure where I got this idea from, but that was kind of what was in my head. And with all the pictures I'd taken on my gap years and through A levels, I actually built a really good portfolio and went to lots of kind of interviews, and I got into all the universities and all the courses I applied for, which was pretty sweet.
That's awesome. And actually that's quite a good heartening tale, I suppose, for folks that feel that maybe, like, on the face of it, their grades from A level, like whilst your A star in photography is phenomenal, but I mean, some people may be a bit disheartened by the C and the D, depending on what the entrance requirements are for different universities. What you did, you take that, you go away, you spend a year honing your craft, you put together an amazing portfolio, which you would never be able to do in school, really, to that scale.
Yeah.
And that supports your application. I think that's a really good sort of story of like personal motivation to be able to kind of get what you want, really.
Yeah, for sure.
To prove that you can do it. You don't just need that B in music tech to be able to get onto a photography course.
Yeah, exactly. At my interview at Ravensbourne, the guy, the course leader said my portfolio was the best portfolio he'd ever seen, which is probably something you shouldn't say to someone applying. And I left that interview thinking, oh, if my portfolio is the best he's ever seen, then I don't think I want to be on that course. But
oh, right.
So it had the opposite effect on me, but at the same time it was really really I don't know, a proud moment for me that I think had been building that portfolio of my own work. I think
So we're at the point in the story where you've got offers from everywhere you've applied to, but I know that you didn't end up going to uni.
Yeah.
What, man?
Yeah, I know. What happened?
What happened there?
So yeah, I moved up to London before kind of the March before going to uni, and I think I'd actually decided that I was going to the best course was the practical filmmaking course at LCC, which was the course my girlfriend was on, because she's also a very good filmmaker, and that was the course she was on at the time, and I decided that I was going to get on that course, and I think I even got as far as kind of getting set up with all the paperwork, student loan, that kind of stuff, but at the same time I got a job at the AYCH climbing wall in Bermondsey, and the AYCH is one of the big kind of chains, I suppose, of climbing walls in London. And this is when I started doing the YouTube stuff there. And also their marketing manager left, and one day I think I was just visiting my parents at home and just got a phone call from the boss of the AYCH, just saying, could we meet up, and could I bring some of my photography stuff and filmmaking, kind of, just some bits that I'd done. And through that, I ended up getting the marketing manager role at the AYCH, which was kind of like a big management role. And I was 21 at the time. And that was kind of like a really great opportunity. And I just thought, well, I should probably run with this whilst I've got it. And I can always go to uni, if it doesn't work out, I can always go to uni afterwards. And then
be sort of in like a manager position by the age of 21 is pretty epic. And
everyone was kind of like, this kind of isn't the way things work. Normally you go to uni, you get the degree, and then you come back, and then maybe you get the kind of maybe you get a marketing manager position or something like that. Whereas somehow it just, the circumstances came together where that kind of happened.
Right. So it's then, now you're at the AYCH, you're working, you've got a secure, I guess, sort of income from the financial side of things, and your photography, your filming, all comes together in marketing materials for that specific climbing center. But it's at the same time as this that you start building up, bubbling up under the surface is the Bouldering Bobat stuff.
So Omar, the guy I started the channel with, he had applied for the same role as me, but before the guy I replaced. So he'd already applied for it, but he didn't get it. And the guy that I ended up replacing got his job. So it's kind of a bit confusing. But anyway, Omar's reaction to not getting the marketing role at the AYCH was just to start his own YouTube channel. He was like, I'll just, if they don't want me to do it for them, I'll do it for myself. Was kind of his reaction.
Right.
And it was something he wanted to do anyway. He watches a lot of content on YouTube, and really kind of, at that time, I didn't really have much knowledge of vlogging and that kind of thing. But he really understood the YouTube platform and kind of how to make a YouTube video, or he'd seen enough to have a good idea of what it took to be a YouTuber. And I saw them filming one day and I was like, oh, what are you guys doing? And they were like, oh, just filming a video. And I was like, oh, I quite like filming videos too. Do you mind if I join in? And through that kind of became good friends with them. And I also had some cameras and bits of kit to kind of bring to the table.
Right.
And yeah, so whilst I was doing the marketing manager role, we're doing that on the side. And eventually the channel started to grow in its own right, and kind of Omar became part of the marketing team for the Arch with the channel. Yeah, and it kind of just kept growing from there, I suppose. Yeah, there's kind of a lot of steps. I don't quite know where I should punch into detail and where I should kind of like hold back a bit.
No, this is really good. So this is where you start sort of building your YouTube channel. And what was let's go with, what was your breakthrough vid for Bouldering Bobat? What was the one that you just like, this is now we've got some traction?
Yeah, so I think it took us about 4 months before we had even got maybe over 400, 500 subscribers.
Right.
I think a few of our videos have maybe got, I think one of our videos maybe had 5,000 views, which we were kind of pretty psyched on. But you know, not massive. No, there was no income or anything. I don't think you can even make money on YouTube with that few subscribers. And we kind of one day decided to start making some tutorials on how to climb. And I did one on kind of footwork, climbing footwork, and Jake did one on like how to kind of do easy kind of jumps. And then Omar and him did a video on just explaining different types of climbing handholds. So in climbing, you have lots of different types of handholds. And he just did a video explaining that. And for whatever reason, that video and the other tutorials we did kind of suddenly caught the algorithm or caught kind of the climbing zeitgeist or whatever. And that video kind of, with the other two, kind of started, gaining a lot of traction. And suddenly we were kind of gaining, you know, we doubled the channel in a couple of weeks, and then it just kept growing and growing from there.
So did you promote that video on any platform? Did you put it up on Reddit or share it out on Facebook or? So
Omar had been posting our videos on Reddit, and I don't know if he'd posted that one as well. I think he probably did, because Omar was quite into Reddit, and he knew that posting stuff on subreddits could get you, you know, a lot of traction. If something does well on Reddit, you can suddenly reach quite a big audience. But eventually I think he got banned from posting our videos on the climbing subreddit, because he was just kind of posting them there all the time.
For spamming.
It's for basically spamming our own, for ruthless self-promotion on Reddit. We got banned from the climbing subreddits. But by the point Reddit had enough of our stuff, we were already growing on YouTube on our own, so we didn't need them anymore.
Right. So it sounds a bit like getting involved in Reddit, especially, and also other social media platforms. You find the forums, you find the little sub communities.
You find that little niche of people who are kind of looking for that kind of content. And and then once you start getting momentum, or you have that kind of one video that gets a good amount of traction off the algorithm, then you not that anyone really knows how it works. Then people start finding the channel, and maybe they'll watch some of the silly videos we've done. And if they enjoy the silly stuff we're doing and the information stuff, then hopefully they'll subscribe and they'll keep watching and coming back for more.
Right. So you're building, you're establishing, and I suppose you're giving back to your community. But you're not making all that much money off YouTube at the moment. So how do you sort of pivot to start trying to actually start making this financially viable?
Yeah, so a few things kind of at the beginning, both me and Omar really quite into kind of hip hop and kind of beats and just, I don't know, good upbeat music. And at the beginning, we kind of, part of the joy of editing it and of doing it was to be able to, you know, pick some of our favorite tunes, especially for Omar, like picking his favorite tunes and kind of editing to those tunes gave him a lot of inspiration. The downside of that is that when you use music like that, the record label takes all your ad revenue. So the channel wasn't really making any money at all. But that was okay because me and Omar were both doing kind of marketing stuff for the Arch. But eventually, kind of fast forwards a year from that, the channel was doing pretty well. I think we had kind of 20 to 40,000 subscribers, something like that. And there started to become some kind of conflict of interest with the Arch, us kind of wanting to work on the channel more, and the Arch kind of wanting us to work less on the channel on their time, kind of understandably, and try and put a heavier focus on kind of their own social media output and kind of the Arch's vision. And that kind of, it was a bit of a messy breakup, but we kind of went our separate ways at that point. And that kind of, suddenly me and Omar were like, okay, we definitely don't want to give up YouTube, but also neither of us, we both had a taste of the good life making videos as a profession. So yeah, let's try and make this YouTube thing work. So yeah, we started using royalty-free music, which was actually not as bad as I thought, because at that point I kind of put all the songs I like onto videos, right? And it was, and then suddenly finding music is a pain. So almost restricting yourself to just kind of some royalty-free stuff actually became a bit easier. And we also started a Patreon, so regular subscribers could kind of help us out, and that was really good early doors because we weren't really making much ad revenue, so that was kind of a consistent amount of money. And then we also released our first set of t-shirts as well, which sold like hotcakes, those first t-shirts. So that was kind of like a good affirmation that people were really invested in us.
Yeah, and do you think that those t-shirts and that Patreon would have gone so well if you hadn't done that community building through Reddit and through posting out on social media and engaging people?
Definitely not. I think we do a lot, or we did a lot. I think we still do, but we did a lot. Kind of the Reddit stuff helps us get off the ground, but I think just like trying to be vigilant with replying to people's comments, answering people's questions. If people message us on Instagram, we try our best to answer people's questions whenever we can, and I think that's really important. And yeah, also just when people meet us in person, just trying to be nice people. I mean, I don't know, you know what I mean? Just it's not something we try to do, but I think, if someone comes up and they're really psyched to meet you and you're working or whatever, you try and make sure you can have a bit of a moment with them before you kind of start getting on, because we really appreciate them, and the reason why we do it is to meet people. I think that's a reason why a lot of people get into climbing as well. So
I think a good example of that is you ran a sort of a community meetup, didn't you, at the Art Centre when you were still based there, and got tons of people just coming along to come and climb in the same room as you.
It was super weird. So the Arch was doing this like late night climbing thing on I think it was a Friday night. So it was like beyond open after 10:30. I think they closed. So it was like late night. So also kind of didn't really expect lots of people to turn up, but we kind of comboed that. We were like, okay, let's do that, and let's also combo that with our like first meetup and just see if we can bring people down to come say hi. And we were hoping to get maybe 10 or 15 people. We'd be pretty psyched. And it gets to 10:30 and the building's still rammed of people, but we're like, is anyone actually here to see us, or are they just keen to climb late? So we did a little walk around, like, is anyone here for the meetup? And kind of everyone in the building was kind of there to see us, and so we ended up with maybe, I would say, 50 to 100 people all there to see us. It was pretty epic. And Omar, we used to start our videos with Omar used to go, what up, what up, what up? And Omar did that, and like everybody in the whole building like cheered it with us. And it was kind of, I don't know, it was just super cool meeting so many people. And it still makes me smile now, just like so many psyched climbers that were just psyched to meet us and psyched to climb with us. And it was great to meet all those people.
Well, I imagine as a YouTuber, it's quite hard to actually engage with your audience. I mean, you're constantly trying to put out content which is engaging and feels friendly, and yet you rarely actually see who's on the other side of the camera.
Exactly.
Or the other side of the computer.
The other side of the screen.
Running that meet, you actually put faces to those names, and I imagine that was really, really great for you. I think it was quite an important thing to cover all that journey in the detail as we did, just because you are a young man from Devon, and I think that your story will resonate a lot with our viewership here. We're based in Devon. I'm currently in Exmouth right now. And I think it's quite inspiring that you've managed to make a career at the moment out of something which you're passionate about and something that you're good at. And hopefully that resonates and inspires some of our viewers. But the wholesome part that we've just covered, that's done. That's out of the way. Let's talk money. Let's talk the nitty gritty. Let's talk facts and figures. So how does monetization work on your channel specifically? Because I know that you run ads and you also have sponsorships.
Yes. So YouTube and Google have this thing called AdSense. AdSense is basically is pretty much most of the ads you see on the internet are run through AdSense, and they're targeted for you, but they are paid for by companies bid for those ads. So we get a certain amount, a mysterious amount, from whether somebody watches a normal ad roll at the beginning of a video. So these are adverts placed there by Google. And we will get 0.0001 pence per time someone watches a video, and if someone clicks through and buys something, then maybe it's a little bit more. So you have to be getting quite a lot of views to be making money with that. So that is our I suppose has been and still is kind of our main source of income, which is reliant on getting a lot of views. And then we also have the Patreon, which is kind of for regular hardcore subscribers who just want to give a little bit extra back to the channel, and they also get some perks through that. They can chat to us when they like, and we post kind of some bonus content and podcasts for them. We also sell t-shirts, which is a fun creative outlet because we get to design t-shirts and try and make cool stuff. And then the last thing is kind of brand sponsors who want to work specifically with us and not through kind of the AdSense side of things. So we work with Squarespace, who sponsor loads of content all across YouTube, Skillshare, and then we also work with Surfshark, and we work with Dark Ventures, who are a climbing distribution company as well.
Cool. So that's a lot of different sort of what we might call a revenue stream. Lots of different ways of you making money. If a young person was looking at starting up a YouTube channel, what sort of order do you think they should consider those aspects?
Those things, first so I think if you're starting a YouTube channel, you probably shouldn't be in it to make money. Is because we didn't make any money from the channel for 6 months, and we weren't making enough money to support me and Omar for at least a year, maybe a year and a half. So people do get big overnight, but the chances of that, it's kind of like lightning. So the chances of that happening are quite slim, or you've got to have a really amazing idea that no one's ever thought of. So I wouldn't say don't be in it to make money, and kind of just grow it slowly and organically. And once you start making a bit of money, reinvest that into yourself and into the channel, or buy better equipment, or but before buying better equipment, if there's a video idea that you need money to do, then use it for that, because content is king and it doesn't really matter what you're filming it on.
Yeah, that's so true. So how many subscribers or viewers did you have before you started being able to make money for yourself and Omar? Sustainably, that is.
Yeah, so because we had this kind of arrangement with the AYCH, it was kind of skewed a bit, because we kept on using copyright music way longer than we should have done, basically. I think we could have started making an okay amount of money, and it really depends what niche you're in and how savvy you are, around 10,000 subscribers. But for us, it was more like 40,000.
Okay. All right. Let's take a little bit of a tangent now. Let's talk about the cons of the job. So we've talked about a lot about what's really cool about what you do, and how it's taking you around the world and all this. What do you reckon is the worst aspect of your job as a YouTuber?
I think it's definitely having your self-worth tied to a number of views, likes, clicks, whatever, and it's quite hard to separate those two things, because I think with it's such a personal thing that we do. You know, it's us in front of the camera, it's us filming it, it's us editing it. It is an extension of us. So yeah, when less people are watching or that kind of thing, you kind of start thinking, you know, what are we doing wrong? What's going wrong? And when that's so tied to your kind of identity, it's quite, you know, it can be kind of a bit tough psychologically.
I bet. Yeah. Okay. So what sort of type of personality do you think would benefit the most from being a YouTuber? Someone that's grown up with like 6 siblings and is just used to hammered.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably not great, massively well suited to taking abuse online or whatever. But yeah, I think because it generally grows quite slowly. You know, it's like for the first year or so, it was always kind of up. You know, everything was moving in the right direction. So by the time it kind of started slumping for us, it was kind of expected, and by the time you got enough followers for people to be saying horrible things about you online, you're kind of ready. You're ready for it. And yeah, you just, you know, no one's gonna like, nothing's for everybody. So yeah, no matter what you put out, someone's gonna not like it, and that's fine. Like, yeah, if everybody loves what you're doing, you might be doing something wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, maybe if you. Well, I think you're definitely doing at least one thing right to have 160,000 subscribers. I think things are going well. All right, so I think we've covered it a little bit already. But one thing I asked all of our guests on Creative Careers is, what are your 3 main pieces of advice or top tips for young people that fancy sort of following in your footsteps? I enjoyed that you're sort of dodging the light here. It looks like your face is being photoshopped.
I can pull a curtain, but I'm just going to grab it and see if I can.
Yeah, do that. There we go.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle that the sun is actually shining. I've been kind of like shrinking down to try and get out of the sunlight.
So your 3 top tips, Tom.
3 top tips. So I've already done number 1, which is don't pursue it. Don't be in it to make money, at least straight off the bat. Yeah, I think if you're in it to make money, then you'll probably get disheartened before you get to the point where you can make any money. So yeah, I think, yeah, you need to kind of find a way of doing it sustainably and that it's fun, but without necessarily the goal of making tons of cash.
So that might be doing that alongside another job. On
the weekend, as a hobby. And, you know, if you enjoy editing and you enjoy what you're filming, then it's fun, you know. So and that kind of leads me. So number 2 is going to be make videos about things you enjoy, and that can be anything, like actually anything. If you go on YouTube, if you're interested in something, there is almost certainly enough people in the world that are also interested in that for you to build a following. You know what I mean? There's so many people in the world. Just because you might not know many other people who are interested in, I don't know, collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or, you know, whatever it might be, like rock climbing or I don't know, pole vaulting or swimming or anything. Choose something that you're passionate about and that you're going to enjoy making videos about, and you're going to enjoy, you know, editing those videos for watching yourself back for 10 hours, you know, talking about something. Because if it's not something you enjoy, then you're not going to be in it for long enough to kind of see the benefits from it.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know about you. Actually, I do know about you. You told me that you watched a channel about a guy who just keeps his fish. It's just films his fish tank. And I've watched a similar thing with a guy who like leaves his fish tank for like 3 months and then cleans it. And you're watching, like, there's no narration. It's just maybe some ambient music, and it's just a fish tank being cleaned, and it's the most satisfying thing ever.
Yeah. It's a great YouTube channel. You should, if you wanna get to sleep, you should look up Foo the Flower Horn. He has I think he has probably possibly over 1 million subscribers. So he's probably making a good living from just
Having
keeping fish. Yeah,
Love it.
I mean, and that's kind of like the interesting thing is also there's so many ways of doing it, right? You don't have to be vlogging with a camera in front of you like that. You can make quirky little films about whatever you like, and people will watch it.
Yeah. And what about your third tip, Tom?
I think third tip is just get out there and do it. I think we're really lucky to live in this kind of post-internet world where all the information is there waiting and ready for you. If you don't know how to use a camera, you can learn online. You have a smartphone already, probably, that can already film 4K video, which is better than anything I ever started off with. You can almost do everything you need to do on your phone. So don't let those kinds of things get in your way. Just get out there and do it. And don't wait for anybody to teach you or show you how to do it, because you can do that all yourself.
Brilliant. I've got 2 quick questions for you at the end, Tom.
Yeah.
Number 1, what's your career highlight, Tom? What's
my career
when you're standing on top of that mountain, feeling great?
I think so I've already spoken about it, but possibly the best feeling was that meetup, and we want to do more of those. And it was just so unexpected for us, because we really didn't think people would make the effort to drive halfway across the country to meet us at 11:30 at night or whatever on a Friday. But people came from all over to come and meet us, and that was kind of like a really mind-blowing and just a amazing moment. We were grinning for days after that.
Awesome.
100,000 subscribers and our first video to go past 1 million views were probably also highlights as well.
Those are pretty good milestones, aren't they?
Yeah.
And my final question is, what should young people do right now when they finish watching this stream? What do you reckon the first steps are to becoming a YouTuber? Obviously, after they've liked and subscribed Bouldering Bobat, after this channel here, like this one for future creative careers information.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, what should
they do right now? I think just pick up your camera and start doing, or start working on something that you could make a video about. I think just start, just do. I think there's no better time. Oh, it's so cliche. There's no better time than now. But if you go back to our first video and watch how bad that is, and how much better our recent stuff is. If you don't start, you have to be bad. So start now and just do it. Make something terrible and don't show it to anybody, but do it.
Or show it to everyone.
And maybe it'll go viral. So
maybe. All right. Well, thank you very, very much for your time, Tom. You'll be joining us in a moment for our live Q&A on Discord. So viewers, I'm talking to you.
Get in the Discord.
Get in that Discord. Think about things that you might want to throw in Tom's direction. You can ask about YouTubing. You can ask about rock climbing. You can ask about anything. And Tom is a captive and will have to answer your questions.
Yeah.
Blink twice if you need saving. Thanks very much, Tom. And
awesome.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on Discord.
Adios.
And there we have it. Thank you, past Callum, for passing that over to me and saying most of the stuff that present time Callum should be saying at this outro, which is the Discord will be going live any minute now. So make sure that you follow that link that's on our landing page or that's been posted into the live chat of this live stream. And you can join us to speak to Tom live in the flesh or in the virtual flesh and ask him all of the questions. So just before you go, I'd like to say a big thank you very much to Tom for being so generous with his time and in advance for the time he has still to give. If you'd like what you've watched, please subscribe to this channel. There's going to be some more cool content coming your way, mostly in the form of Annie Martin next week, climber, filmmaker, She runs the Bouldering Bobat's YouTube channel and Beta magazine, so she's got fingers in a lot of pies. She's a really cool guest. So make sure you join us next week, same time, 7:30, same place, Space Youth Services YouTube channel. And if you don't want to miss it, you know what to do. Ding that notification bell and subscribe. Also coming up, if you've got other young people that are going to be at a bit of a loose end over the next few weeks, February half term coming in their direction, the YouTube channel will have some more content coming on there for them. So if outside of creative careers you're interested in some stuff, good YouTube channel to be part of. Anyway, so yes, now it's time to fire up the Discord. We'll see you all over there. This stream is going to go down any minute now, and I'll see you on that Discord platform. Catch you in a mo!